Welcome back. And today we're going to take a man's point of view, a foreigner's point of view of the Filipinas. One thing's for certain, in the Philippine culture, there's not really a big age limit about how old to date the women. For example, like if a foreigner dates a woman half their age, that's really not a problem. And if a man is a lot older than the woman and he walks around, let's say at a grocery store or something, nobody even blinks an eye. However, in the Western culture, especially in countries like America, it's taboo. You don't date a woman that's more than 2 or 3 years you're different. But I ask myself this question, is it wrong? Is there a problem? Does it offend people? Is it doing something really terrible? If you don't date someone exactly your own age. Gold digger applies in all countries. There's gold diggers everywhere. Every Western and Asian country, in Africa, every continent, Europe, in the world, there's what? There's gold diggers. For this show, we're just gonna talk about the Filipina. And we know that money is important to the Filipina as well. Every woman wants a man that can support their needs and that can make a woman feel secure. If a man from the Western culture thinks that money is really nothing as far as in a woman's point of view, he's wrong. Because women, they want that security, they want that money. Also, the Westerners, they look at the Filipina in particular as really pretty. And they pretty much look at the Filipina as really gorgeous. The Filipinas do have good looks and they're really pretty. And the Filipinas look at the foreigners for other reasons. They like their noses, they like their face, they like lots of things about the foreigner because they've been used to, let's say, a local boy, and the local boy may have the same flat nose that they have, and they don't like that. They like something different. So if you're a foreigner, you might ask yourself this question: is the girl that I like, is she attracted to me for my looks, or is she attracted to me because she thinks I have some money? The answer might be both. The woman likes the looks and she likes having someone who can support her also. It's very important in the Philippine culture, but it's very important in all cultures that they find somebody that can support them. The women usually have had experiences with local guys who didn't have very much money. And sometimes if they want to buy a pair of shoes or sandals or slip-ons, they can't buy them because the guy doesn't have enough money. So the culture, the Philippines, the women really do like a guy with some money. That way she can have some things that she needs. In the Western culture, dating is a lot slower than in the Philippines. People sometimes date a long time. They date a little while. They just take it easy and they date slow. It takes time in the Western culture to like fall in love with a woman and stuff like that. And in the Philippines, the women seems to fall in love with a guy a little faster. And she says, I love you very fast sometimes in the Philippines. And in the Western culture, that just doesn't happen very fast and very much. But in the Philippines, the girl falls a lot. The woman says those 3 beautiful words. That's I love you. I believe I can fly. But Westerners often ask themselves, does that woman really love me? Especially if she doesn't even know the guy very well. And that's the question, because it happens sometimes so fast that girls fall in love with a guy and they say they love them. But is that really true? As a foreigner or Westerner, you ask yourself that question, does that woman really love you? And why does she talk about love so fast? And maybe it's like the knight in shining armor, like you are the guy on the horse coming to rescue that damsel in distress. Maybe she's looking for somebody like you to come in her life to help stabilize her life, especially with like the pandemic and these kind of times. The families are hurting and they need help, and the woman will definitely look at the foreigner as a source of help. Not very long ago, and she says she loves you. And does she really love you? The answer is probably yeah, she probably loves you. The woman would not say she loves you if she didn't love you. Nobody would say that. But, you know, does she really love you? And that's another thing. She doesn't really know you. She doesn't know your good, your bad habits, nothing. But she falls in love with you. I heard before that a woman falls in love with a guy within the first 7 seconds of seeing him. So if you're a guy and the girl doesn't really love you or fall in love with you, that she probably doesn't really love you, and she probably never will love you.
Game over.
But if a girl falls in love with you within the first 7 seconds, then you got a good girl. She's gonna probably stay with you. So women don't take a long time to fall in love. They just see somebody, and in their mind they go, you know, I love that guy. Or they say, no, the Westerners and the Filipinas look at love in different lights. The men usually just look at the woman for her beauty, the gorgeous beauty of a Filipina. One cannot deny that foreigners are definitely attracted to the Filipina. And I've been in the Philippines for 11 years and I haven't dated anyone else but a Filipina because the beauty is so great to the foreigner and he doesn't really want to look anywhere else because he likes that one. But the woman, on the other hand, she looks at the foreigner for other reasons. Like, she's probably dated local guys and they haven't been able to fulfill her needs as far as helping their family or helping themselves out, providing things that she really needs. Of course, there's exceptions to the rules. I'm not saying everybody, but it's kind of like that a little bit where they view the foreigner as somebody that can come in and help their life a little bit. And the foreigner looks at the woman for her beauty. Of course, that beauty only goes so far, right? It's only skin deep. And then it comes to the inside. The guy wants to know, what kind of woman is this? Is she good? Is she a liar? Does she steal money? You know, what kind of girl is this person? A foreigner usually looks at the Filipina lady like she's a virgin. She's very pure and beautiful. And she looks like that. I mean, Filipinas look like perfect angels. But in reality, they probably are not perfect angels. They probably had maybe some sexual encounters with local boys, and they probably haven't been very satisfying. And the local boys probably have left them for the next girl, because that's the way it usually is. Lots of local guys have many girls. They go ahead and pregnate girls, and they go to the next virgin, and they try to pregnate her also. So it's a little different culture here for the boys. They are not very serious, and they just go from one girl to another. And the girls feel left out when that happens. They feel defiled, and that's a good reason why. And they look to a foreigner for stability and for a relationship, because when they've had that encounter with a local guy, they haven't really been very fulfilled. Another reason why the Filipina might be attracted to a foreigner is that in the Western culture, men do not hit women usually. That's a taboo. We don't hit women, and men, I've never hit a woman before. You know, you kind of think you might want to, but you don't hit a woman in the culture of the Westerner. So in the Philippine culture, it's quite different. There's a lot of abuses going on in the home. The children see their parents, their dad hitting their mom. The mom gets hit. The daughters say that's normal. It's okay to get hit. Of course, nobody likes to get hit. And then the boys say that's what happens when the woman gets out of line. We hit them and we make them pay for that. But in the Western culture, we go to jail if we hit a girl, so, or a lady or anybody. So we don't hit people. Like, that's not our style. And I never do that either. As bad as things get, I've never done that. And that's just the way the Westerners or the foreigners think for the most part. They don't hit a woman. But I've seen cases where the guy's out in the middle of the street punching his girl in the face. And I'm like, I stopped my bike one time and I said, dude, don't you hit that woman. And she's just crying, and that's just the way it is in the Philippines, is that it's okay to whack your back to that question, does she really love me? Probably the answer is yes, she probably really loves you. Another trait in the Philippines, I've noticed that if a woman really loves you, she's in fearful of losing you. She doesn't want to lose you because she loves you, and she's worried that you'll go to a new crop of women. It's kind of like a car dealership. There's lots and lots of new cars being brought in that dealership every week, so that woman knows that. And there's a lot of competition in the Philippines for a foreigner. So the women, they go ahead and they get nervous. And then if you notice your Filipina doesn't get nervous, or she's not worried about you, she probably doesn't love you. In a situation one time where there was two men looking at one woman to date, to try to have a relationship with. And I was one of those guys. And I, quite frankly, didn't like it much, because the woman was playing two guys against each other to see who would provide better for her family, who would give more money or more resources. And it just doesn't seem fair. And I went ahead and backed out of that one, because I figured that woman doesn't love me. She's just looking for what she can have, or what her future is like that. But I realized that that's not really true love when a woman plays two guys against each other. If a Filipina really loves a foreigner, she'll be afraid of losing him. She'll have fear of losing him. She won't let him go. And so if she's going to other guys, or she's looking at other opportunities, she doesn't love you. Filipina that loves you will stay with you. She'll be contented with you, and she'll be happy that you're her man. So if you find a woman that is not contented, or looking for other people or other men for whatever reason, you know that's a sign that she does not love you. In a relationship where the woman really loves the man, she'll be afraid all the time. She'll be fearful that he'll trade her in for a younger model, or a different make of woman, a different style. But if the woman is good and the guy's good, he'll stick around, because the guys usually look at the women inside the heart. The looks fade really fast, because especially for men and women, we all get old and we start losing our looks. And so what happens is that the inside is really the most important. So if you can get your man to love you on the inside, even you start not looking so perfect, he will stay with you. Let me give you a hint, ladies. If the foreigner is with you and that he likes you, he's happy with you. He likes the way you dress. He likes everything about you. And the women sometimes have a lot of insecurities. And oftentimes you'll hear, I've heard the Filipina talk about her breast size. The Philippines is in last place as far as endowed with the biggest breast. They have the smallest breast size in all the countries as a country. And usually the man don't care, like he doesn't. But the woman, she's worried about it. She's like, oh my gosh, the man may not love me because of my breast size. Because the woman knows that the man comes from the Western world, where the women have the largest breast sizes. And then he goes to the Philippines with the smallest breast sizes. But honestly, women, it doesn't matter, because if the guy likes you and loves you, he doesn't really care about your breast size. I noticed that Philippine women judge each other a lot differently than foreigners. Women are so critical of each other. They pick every little flaw and they make a big deal out of it. So when you say that the women are beautiful in the Philippines, if you say that in front of a woman, especially a Filipina, she will probably have something to say to you, because they look at each other so differently and they're so critical of each other. But the foreigner is not as critical as the Filipina. He just thinks a lot of these women are just beautiful, beautiful. They're beautiful, and they are. But the women, when you say that, they'll say, no, she's not beautiful. She's ugly. But the truth and the reality of it is, the foreigner is very attracted to that beauty. Also, the Filipina is some of the most loving and wonderful people on the planet Earth. So if you find a Filipina that really loves you, that's worried about losing you, that doesn't want to meet other guys, and is contented with her life with you. Of course, it's being together. It's not just writing on the internet. That's a whole new thing. I'm talking about a relationship, being together. If a woman really is happy with you, being with you, then you know you'll have a very good woman, and you should keep her. Don't lose her, because a good woman is really hard to find. One last bit of advice for you Filipinas, that if you stay good, honest, you don't steal from your boyfriend, you try to help him, you try to be a helpmeet, you try to do good for your boyfriend, your husband, and you're just a good loyal woman that stays by your man's side. If you're like that, don't worry about it, because your man will probably always stay with you.